Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Isaac Umbras, and today we are back in Enthusia Professional Racing. We get to drive the Alfa 156 GTA. This vehicle powered by the 3.2-liter V6 engine, produces a very respectable amount of power. And the 156 was also used quite a bit in early touring car racing during the late 90s, early 2000s, winning quite a few championships, including multiple championships of the Italian Super Turismo Championship. So let's see what all we can do with this front-wheel drive road-going version of a wonderful touring car. This is gonna be really great. It was even driven by Gabriele Tacquini, who won the European Touring Car Championship in 2003 with the 156. He did flip an Alfa Romeo a little bit earlier in his life. That was the 155 though, not the 156. But he has a storied history with touring cars and Alfa Romeos especially. He ended up rolling the 155 at Knockhill in, I believe, 1994 was the year that happened. So, Knockhill causing issues even back then as a very tricky circuit. Ooh, alright, the SUV, the Forester, giving us a little bit of trouble early on the Nordschleife. Okay, little bit of rear end sliding out there. Come on, I gotta make sure I get this right. There we go. Alright, up into the lead. Full throttle all the way to Flugplatz. Let's do this. Over the bridge. Got a steep hill now. Car may catch us a little bit of air. Whoa, okay. Car does not like getting off throttle there. A little bit too much off throttle rotation. Gotta be a little bit careful with that. Come on, full speed. This is the fastest version of the 156 as well, the GTA variant. Very rapid. Very fast for a front-wheel drive car. And surprisingly good handling and a good amount of power, despite being front-wheel drive. Though the lack of a front limited slip differential did hurt a little bit. Compared to other front-wheel drive contemporaries. So that is one thing that people do sometimes if they are going to be modifying it. That is one upgrade. Whoa, okay. That was terrible, That is one upgrade that people usually do spring for, is to get a limited slip differential for the front wheels. As you can see on the VGS, the Visual Center of Gravity, the front tires, we do get one accelerating out of slow speed corners. You get like a one tire fire. You'll see one tire turn red, but not both, showing that a lot more of the torque. The torque is basically going to the one that's spinning instead of being split evenly. But it still handles nice enough. It's gotta be a little bit careful around the Nordschleife. We gotta make sure we minimize our off tracks, minimize our collision with the walls. Oh, hi there. Close enough. That worked. Alright, we do have a major gap to second place. So if we can keep that going, that'll be very nice. Over the bridge, I got a sharp right-hander uphill section. There we go. Now I got a little bit of a run, a shorter high-speed section where we can kind of really stretch the car's legs a little bit before another heavy braking. So we want to brake at or just before. Yeah, just before the sign. The sign I normally brake at in other sims isn't there in this version of the Nordschleife. So you gotta kind of base it off of that green sign and kind of brake a little bit earlier. You also gotta remember that we are in a road-going car. A very beautiful road-going car, but a road-going car nonetheless. So we do need to brake a little bit earlier than we'd otherwise think. We do have a major gap though. Now, the cool thing about the 156 is it was campaigned in touring car racing all the way up until 2007, which means it had nearly a decade of of touring car racing. Although it was primarily more successful in its earlier years into the early mid 2000s, from the late 90s to the early mid 2000s. Afterwards, it was mostly relegated to a privateer usage, while Alfa Romeo more so tried to field their 159s, I believe, was the one that succeeded this in touring car racing. Although the touring car versions of both the 156 and later on the 159, they had the inline 4 twin spark engine to better comply with it to the Super 2000 or 2-liter touring car regulations. The 3.2 liter V6 was a little bit too large, so this engine can't really trace its lineage too directly to the touring car, but the rest of the car can, which is nice. But yeah, the touring car had the inline 4 twin spark. It might be wondering, a twin spark, well, what's that? Well, a lot of vehicles, specifically a lot of the European, smaller European cars, what they do is they have 2 spark plugs per cylinder. And what that does is that allows them to have a more complete combustion at the expense of slightly more electrical load, as well as having more components that would need to be, you know, maintained and everything like that. But it is better for emissions, and you're able to get more power out of it. Be a little bit careful. That wasn't the best line through that corner. Little bit wide. Alright, we got YouTube corner coming up. We're gonna brake before the jump. Then again afterwards. So you don't want to brake while going over the jump though, as the front of the vehicle will basically dip, and you can throw yourself into a major spin because you just shift all the weight forwards. You can also damage the front of the vehicle too, for damage the front aero. So you got to be a little bit cautious there. Welcome, LeBron's the goat. Was it like a joke? Maybe. I'm a little bit scared. I'm a little bit scared. Welcome, welcome. Oh, that is not a 4th gear corner, Isaac. That is very much not a 4th gear corner. That is a much lower gear corner. Alright, I'm missing some of the things I usually use for references for turn-in points. I got so used to the one in Strada Corsa Competizione. So now I'm like, wait, where's my braking points? Where's my turn-in points? Oh, this thing. Probably be able to reach around 157 miles an hour. Very respectable top speed for this. Absolutely beautiful as well. We got that screaming V6. Let's not make that joke then, alright? Let's not make that joke, yeah. Oh boy. Saved it! Absolutely saved it. And across the line. Oh my gosh, huge gap to second place. Wasn't expecting that. We even beat a Civic Type R as well. I will gladly take that. I will gladly take that. There we go. More power. Ooh, and a reduction in weight as well. I will gladly take that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Alright, we need to improve our ranking a little bit though. Alright, let's see what other races we have. Welcome for Show GG, welcome home. Hope you've been well. What options we got? What options we got? Got Speediopolis ring. Let's do the reverse Tsukuba though. What are we up against? We got the EB110. That'll be really quick in the rain. S2000. Alright, Jaguar. I could probably finish a solid 3rd place, I think. The, you know, Tsukuba is a track that usually does benefit more so for, touring car style vehicles. And this Alfa will definitely do very, very well here. Alright. Whoa! Okay, hi. Get out of the way there. Bro literally fumbled the bag right at the start. He had the massive acceleration. And then he just bounced himself off the inner pit wall. Oh, here he comes again. Here he comes again. Oh lord, he going. Hi. Hi. Yeah, the Dower EB110. Very rapid. Very, very quick. Ooh, E36. Very nice. Very, very nice. I know when I got groceries earlier in the week, I saw an absolutely beautiful S2000 CR. Or if it wasn't a CR, it had the same, it was painted and had the body kit that looked like a CR. The Club Racer spec of the S2000. And holy moly, and that bright blue as well. It looked very nice. I think it was a CI, because the owner of the restaurant, I know, also owns R35, and he owns a couple of other high-end Japanese sports cars. So it wouldn't surprise me if he also had a CR, as it was parked basically like right in his spot for the restaurant, back behind the restaurant. It looked so nice. I should have gotten pictures, but I needed to rush and get groceries. Alright, we are keeping pace with the Dower EB110, which is crazy, you know. This thing electronic limited to 155 miles an hour, whereas the Dower, you know, is having top speed of comparable to, you know, the McLaren F1 Jaguar X220. It shows just how good a tight, twisty track can be for slower vehicles with the right driver. Although in the acceleration zones, he does pull a pretty significant gap. So we are down a little bit on pace. Got to be a little bit careful. Whoa, okay. Brake earlier, brake earlier. That is the dry braking point for this course. That is not the wet braking point. We got it stopped though. We got it stopped. Thank goodness. Alright, we'd have a major gap to between us and third place though. So we're kind of building a bubble. We're keeping pace with the Dower, which is really impressive. The entire price point of these two vehicles, very, very different. Absolutely silly. Although he is pulling about a second or so per lap. So you need to be a little bit careful. Got 3 to go at the Tsukuba race. This thing, absolutely lovely. I gotta brake before the barriers to the right in the wets. Don't want to brake at them. At them will cause us to run wide. Braking a couple car lengths before them is a way to go. Alright, a little bit of a course cut there. Yeah, stewards are gonna bonk me. Oh no. Gotta be careful being on the curves as well. They get very slippery in the wet, as the painted surface just causes the water to sit on top of it. So you do wanna minimize that, as it gets very, very slippery, very slick. Alright, gotta be careful. Alright, 2 more laps to go. Big push in the Alpha. And I believe after this we go back to the real sports cars, so we get to see what kind of vehicle we'll get there. We're slowly working our way down to getting every single vehicle up to level 10, which is really, really cool. It's been a while in the making, you know. I was playing this game back when I first started streaming, and we have steadily been working our way through all the different cars. We've gotten all the multi-purpose cars, all the specialty cars, all the sedans, both premium and mid-size. We got all the compact cars recently, so we are working our way through. Here we go, 1 more lap. Let's see what I can do, chat. First place is long gone, but we can get a solid second step of the podium. There we go. All right, nice and solid. All right, a little bit of a track cut there. Gotta be careful with those track cuts. That does reduce our ability to upgrade our vehicle, as it does take away a significant amount of points for a fairly minor infraction. So we do need to be a little bit careful with that. Use only the curves, try to stay off the dirts. Come on, get us across the line. 10. A little bit slower lap, that final lap, but otherwise we did pretty good. We did all right there. Alright, let's see. Is this enough to get us to level 10? Ooh, maybe. Maybe. No, not quite. Still though, this will help us. There we go. Okay, our ranking improved a little bit, ever so slightly. We need a little bit more points. We need a little bit more ooh, this one's tempting. Let's do the Pacific Gateway race. We got everything from Infinity G35s to the Jaguars, four-wheel drive Super Legacies, and of course, AMG C-Class Mercedes. Now, fun fact, despite the Allegrita parts of the GTA name, which is the GTA translates to Light and Grand Tour, the V6 156 GTA is actually just a little bit heavier than the standard V6 156 due to its larger engine, its aerodynamic additions, including the larger chin spoiler, the vented side skirts, the wider fenders. It has larger brakes all around. It has the chassis reinforcements. So, despite that, it is actually a couple kilograms heavier than the standard one, V6 156. Though they did take care was taken to lighten it as much as possible, though. With things like magnesium components and suspension parts made of aluminum. Ah, yes, the Celica Supras. Back before the Supra became its own nameplate and it was just a trim. Good times, good times. I wasn't born then, but good times. Alright, gotta be a little bit careful. Gotta be a little bit careful. All the way through the turns. A little bit of air time here. Alright, brake just after the 100 meter. Down to third gear. Boop. Down in a second. Back to the left. There we go. Good, good, good. Alright, now for the downhill section. Just gotta carry the speed. Big jumps. Yeah, this does have kind of elements of San Francisco to it. Welcome, Petra. Ooh, alright, a little bit of a corner cut there. That is no bueno. But that's alright. We're absolutely tearing this course up in our Alpha. Such a gorgeous car as well. It just looks really good in that Alpha red. There we go, through the chicane. I got just a little bit bent out of shape, but not too bad. Get some more air time. Alright, we're doing alright. Actually doing better than alright, despite having a higher odds for us this race. Because most of the vehicles are pretty close together in performance, we're able to be the head of the field, the star of the field, despite our vehicle being one of the slower ones compared to higher powered rear-wheel drive vehicles like the Jaguar, like the multiple Jaguars, or even the Skyline. What is a VQ engine? So a VQ engine is a V6 engine made by Nissan that was in things like the 350Z, the 370Z, the Infiniti G35 and G37 as well. And it is essentially their naturally aspirated, semi-performance, sporty V6. But there was mainly used on the Nissan Zs and the Infiniti G35 and G37s. Known for its more kind of trumpet-like exhaust sounds, and its fairly high naturally aspirated power, though it is noted for being not the best for handling boost compared to other Nissan engines. It does struggle a little bit with being able to effectively manage forced induction. But it's all around an alright engine. Gotta be a little bit careful. Back to the left. Gotta make sure we keep it off-road wheels on the ground, on the proper road, no touchy the walls. Fun fact, this Alfa with driving also does feature a V6 engine. Though it is the 3.2 liter Busso engine that a lot of the Alfa Romeos were known for. That was kind of used historically in a lot of Alfa Romeos and was updated through the years, similar to like the Chevy small block V8s, like the LT or LS series engines. And how about the indestructible pickup? Oh, you're probably referring to the Toyota Hilux? Yeah, I had seen the Top Gear episode on that. The super simplicity of the engine itself and the vehicle, the lack of reliance on electronic components, the extreme overbuild of the engine, basically using considerably heavier duty parts than was needed for the power the engine created. Basically makes it borderline indestructible. Though semi-prone to rust, so you do need to watch that. But otherwise, you know, the Hilux ain't bad. Not a bad truck. I totally vibe with the Hilux. Switching new random. Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure I like the look of the James Bond in that new game. Like the gameplay looks interesting, but the James Bond looks kind of almost like, I don't know. Usually James Bond, I kind of picture like someone that's got a lot more like experience, is a bit, you know, older and everything like that. You know, like your Sean Connerys, your Pierce Brosnans, your even like Idris Elba and stuff like that. You know, kind of the older, gentlemanly, experienced individuals. The character looks a little young to be a Bond, I think. That might be just my opinion. Alright, we got three vehicles here. Everything from the V12 Vanquish, the FC RX-7, and the Lotus Elan. So let's pull up a random number generator. Let's pull up the random number generator. And let's go see what we should get. If it is a 1, it'll be the S, and if it is a 3, it'll be the Lotus Elan. It is a 3. Ooh. Alright. I will gladly take the Lotus Elan. Yeah. Alright, let's see what colors it comes in it as well. Ooh, I like the French blue. I like the Lotus yellow. Of course, you can never go wrong with British Racing Green either. Super lightweight. Alright, chat. British Racing Green, Lotus yellow, or French blue? So many choices. I guess I'm gonna say thank you YouTube for recommending. Yeah, I mean it's always cool to kind of learn about that. Ooh, it looks good in that French. I know British Racing Green is like iconic. I like that Lotus yellow too. I'm going with the Lotus yellow. I like the look of that. That looks really nice. Alright, let's get some adjustments. Let's get some adjustments going on here. A little bit more rear camber. Get it a little bit towards acceleration. And good, with the rear differential is locked. So let's go. This wonderful, the S3 through some 1965 to 1968. Very short time frame, being a special version of the vehicle. And an absolutely wonderful special version of the vehicle as well. English Sports Car Meeting. Yeah, that one's not bad as well. The hard body and stuff. Those weren't too bad either. Alright, let's see what we can do. I love the pop-up headlights on it as well. Oh, it's so cute. Whoa, okay. Gotta remember, this thing does have old tires. Does have very, very old tires. It has the bias ply tires from the 60s. It has the period correct tires, so probably not the best tires to take in the rain. But even still, we push. Alright. Oh, the TVR Tamura behind us. That is gonna absolutely catch us on the straight. Especially as we are... No! I'm on full opposite lock, please. Alright. Not the best start. Not the best start. Let's try to big up some ground again. See if we can't finish a nice 4th place finish. The rear literally just went there. Alright, I need to get the suck from the DB5 ahead of us. The DB5, the DB6. It's a little bit hard to tell from the rear here. Take the pit lane. Oh, come on. Let's try to build up. Let's try to get back up into 4th place. Oh, that rear end slide absolutely hurt us. Because while we could hold off and defend, now we gotta fight. Alright, it is the DB5. Nanya, welcome. We just got done driving the Alfa Romeo 156. And now we are in a very different vehicle. The Lotus Elan S3. Produced from 65 to 68, very short time frame. And we're in the special equipment version with the removable hardtop. Gotta be a little bit careful here. The rear end of this vehicle being, you know, a little bit sketchy. Oh, in the wet. Very lightweight, very old tires. This is a pretty rare version of the Lotus Elan as well. Only around 2,000 units of the S3 are produced, which is very. So it makes them very valuable. You know, upper mid 5-figure range for well-preserved examples, despite being fairly simplistic mechanically. Oh, absolutely lovely cars though. I haven't seen an S3, but I have seen a 1st generation Lotus Elan on a couple of car shows. Let me tell you, they are beautiful little tiny vehicles, cute little happy cars. They sound pretty good too. Alright, we got a big brother Lotus ahead, the Esprit. Let's try to minimize our wheel spin in the wet conditions. Oh, gosh, the narrow tires and the old tires as well really don't do this thing any favors. Alright, come on, inline 4 versus inline 4. Can I sneak around the outside? Nah, okay, not yet. We are gaining on it though. Now, we should have a slightly superior power to weight ratio. Although the improved aerodynamics of that wedge-shaped Esprit may give it the advantage on the straights. Oh, can't quite sneak around the outside. We are trying though. Alright, pick a line, buddy. I'll take the other line. There we go, along the inside. You gotta give us racing room now. There we go, up into 3rd place, back to a podium position. After that early race slide cost us a massive amount of time. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing very good. Short shift a second out of the turn. Try to minimize our wheel spin. Ooh. Okay, we're good. We are very good. Alright, keep it in 2nd gear. Let's try to minimize our wheel spin here. Try to maximize our grip. Let's not break traction. It looks beautiful in that Lotus yellow as well. I know British Racing Green is kind of like the de facto car for a lot of lightweight British sports cars, but it looks good in the Lotus yellow too. Absolutely lovely, bright, vibrant color to kind of match with the badge. Oh boy. Okay. Oh man. All right. That was a tough comeback. We managed to make it work. Yeah, it's kind of designed for like the American market and everything. Really, really cool in that regards. A Japanese truck that's more American than Japanese. Oh boy. We didn't get any upgrades, unfortunately, which is a little bit unfortunate, as we had a little difficulty with our vehicles driving capability. To the real sports car race next. Yeah, I got a bunch of two-door classic sports cars. Let's do this. Now this Lotus Elan, it's powered by the 1.6 liter Lotus twin cam engine, which takes a Ford derived engine block and provides their own improved Lotus cylinder heads on it for increase in power, around 115 horsepower at the upper limits. Which is quite a bit of power for a older 1.6 liter engine. Very lightweight, very agile. Oh. Yeah, having that kind of nostalgia is what kind of, makes vehicles that would otherwise be, I don't want to say ignored, but, maybe forgotten about, kind of. A car is a soft spot into your heart. Like, for me, I love the GMC Safari and Chevy Astro vans. To the point where, unironically, if I could find one that's in okay condition for cheap, I'd love to turn that into, like, a heavily modified, like, like, kind of, I don't want to say party van, but, with, like, all the incarnatainment stuff and, like, the plush luxury interior and all of that, go kind of ham with the customization and the restoration and stuff. I think that'd be kind of fun. But that's a soft spot to me because, one, my parents owned a GMC Safari, and two, it was one of the last vehicles that GM ever built in their Baltimore plant, which, is my hometown, so I do have a little bit of the pride with that as well, and the last of the hometown heroes. They used to build everything from the Monte Carlos to the Chevelles, even in the GM Baltimore assembly plants, and now it is been torn down and replaced with warehouses. It's a little bit unfortunate. It was cool as well because it had a unique two-story design for an automotive assembly plant, which on one hand did increase production costs just a little bit, but on the other hand was a little bit more space efficient, which, for Baltimore is very, very useful, as a lot of the water surrounding the city does make it difficult to build out, unless you're building kind of, you're kind of extending the city past the water and you're having other subdivisions and everything like that. Alright, just past the archways. Second gear into the hairpin. There we go. The Elan built on the steel backbone chassis with a fiberglass body mounted to it. Allows for extreme lightweightness, although it is also very fragile. Agile but fragile. But holy moly, it is... Oh, it is beautiful in the handling department. Very predictable, smooth handling. All of that stuff. I much prefer the lower trucks. I much prefer the lower two-wheel drive kind of performance trucks. I'm not as big a fan of like the four-wheel drive trucks. I'm not as into off-roading culture. I can kind of understand it, I respect it, but it's not for me. Just because oftentimes they end up tearing up their equipment that they spend so much money on, and they're just kind of laughing it off, which is kind of like, I get it, like even in like motorsport, like, all that stuff. Yeah, you're gonna have higher wear and tear components. You're gonna, eventually have issues, bumps and dings and stuff like that. But like, they actively, go crazy and, like, hey, I just wrecked a $60,000 truck, and you're like, why are you happy about that? So I never quite understood that. But it is what it is. Oh boy. Alright, rear started to get away from us just a little bit there. Alright, come on. Come on. Nice. Alright, that is a very solid lap time. We can keep the consistency going. Didn't want to go down to first gear, but that's alright. Slight misclick on my controller. Oh, it sounds so good as well. This carbureted inline 6. Sorry, inline 4. Did I say inline 6? 1.6 liter inline 4. Got the numbers all mixed up. I'm silly. Little inline 4. Absolutely just chugging along. The higher revving twin cam Lotus engine. Oh yeah, 100% I miss things like the El Camino, the Ranchero, that type of stuff. Again, the El Camino, built on the GM A-body platform, was another vehicle that was assembled in the Baltimore assembly plants, which is nice. So again, I have a soft spot for that vehicle as well. Most GMA body cars, I got the soft spot for. The Monte Carlo, the El Camino, the Chevelle. There we go. There we go. Improved weight reduction. Get it even lighter, and we can finally replace the old tires with the little slightly grippier boys. I will gladly take the grippy boys. Alright. Yeah, I like the early 70s. The early 70s model of the trucks are really, really nice. Ooh, got an English sports car meeting at Pacific Gateway. What other options we got? We got a Lotus Cup at Route de la Seine. Let's do that one. Bring all the British sports cars to the French, this French city. Come on, let's test the double wishbones front and Chapman rear suspension. And the Chapman strut rear suspension. A staple of the early front engine rear wheel drive Lotus cars. Made it very, very predictable, very stable, very solid, good handling. Ow, we got dive bomb there. All right, come on, let's get these lightweight flowers to this French city. Let's show the French some true vehicular beauty. Plus, also, I don't really race en route to La Seine, so this would be nice. Alright. Down in the second gear into the hairpin. We're gonna brake roughly around the crosswalk section. Now we're driving the special equipment version, which has the higher compression engine, the knockoff wheels, and improved weatherproofing, which made it a treat in wetter climates, as well as made it just a little bit more powerful, being 115 horsepower over the regular Lotus Lawn S3's 105. Instead of extra compression, gave it a little bit more power. Yeah. Gotta combine there the Swedish and Italian. The extra long limo. Ah, I miss the old Top Gear. I miss the old Top Gear. Oh, I think that's a Lotus. I think that's a Lotus at least behind us. All right, we gotta push. We gotta push just a little bit. Come on. Alright, under a second. Break at the 100-meter board. There we go, down to second gear. Yeah, that at least is rapidly catching us. Take a defensive line. Ooh, okay, a little bit of a tap there. A little aggressive. Come on, these are beautiful lightweight British sports cars. Don't go tipping and tapping me, please. Don't go tippy tapping me. I don't like the tippy tap. Oh, okay. Hi. I'm gonna take a defensive line into the hairpin. Downside is if you can hang it around the outside, which he did, he gets the inside line for the next left-hander. Ooh, we got third place. We got third place looking to munch on us as well. I don't want that. Okay, I don't got a good look at what third place is, but they're gonna be ooh, they giving us some extra spiciness, that's for sure. That is for sure. Oh boy. Alright, a little bit of understeer. A lot of understeer. Come on, get it a little bit closer. Oh, that's the Lotus Esprit as well. The Lotus Ease. Alright, thankfully that one has a slightly lower powered inline four, but its mid-engine nature does make it a little bit better, better handling through the corners. It looks like we'll be able to just hold them off. Be a splash of color and an otherwise very darkly colored podium. Oh, there we go. Nice. Very, very nice. There we go. Sorry, a little drink of water. Okay, thankfully we managed to level up. If just barely, give us a little more power, a little bit of improvements to the a little bit of improvements. Although our ranking absolutely got tanked by that race. It was still a fun race though, I enjoyed that. But the Lotus twin cam engine that we have here, it was derived from the Ford 116E engine, 1.5 liter inline four engine that was used in things like the Cortina and the Anglia. So more of a European Ford engine. Was the Kent family of engines with a cast iron block and iron head. And it was a pushrod engine as well. So much lower RPM capabilities, much lower airflow at the higher RPM, so less power at the expense of a little bit more torque, and a little bit lighter weight. The Lotus twin cam engine, they replaced that pushrod design with a double overhead cam design, which gives it significantly more airflow, especially in the higher RPMs. Allows it to have the higher rev limits. As you can see here, the red line for this is starting around the 6,500 RPM limits. And you can probably rev it a little bit higher than that. Now the combustion chambers on the cylinder head was they swapped it to a hemispherical combustion chamber as well for improved efficiency and power output as well. So yes, this Lotus is a Hemi, just not a Dodge Hemi, but it does have a hemispherical cylinder head design, which is nice. Then the displacement was increased by 0.1 liters from 1.5 to 1.6 which of course you'd increase displacement, you increase the power. They increase the bore a little bit, which allows improved torque, as well as a bit more power across the band because you're able to get more airflow through. You're able to get, you know, more combustion, more air, more fuel in. And they modify the block to incorporate the new cylinder heads as well. The pistons and connecting rods were swapped out for higher compression ones. And stronger connecting rods as well to handle the stress of the increased compression ratio. And then finally they balanced the crankshaft. So mechanically that was all the changes they made to the engine. Then they went to the fuel system, going from a single carburetor to a dual Weber carburetor. For increased fuel flow. The intake manifold was redesigned, the exhaust manifold was redesigned. So they did a full comprehensive overhaul on the engine. And this engine, the 1.6 liter Ford Lotus twin cam engine, was then later on used in the Ford Lotus Cortina, the high performance version of the Cortina, which basically took the standard passenger vehicle and turned it into a touring car legend that was just absolutely a rocket ship for its time. So, despite the simplify and add lightness, Lotus did do more, did do some with engines earlier on in their lifespan. Oftentimes, though, they would modify other companies' engines to better suit their needs. The Cortina and the Elan used the Lotus twin cam, which is derived from a Ford engine. The Europa used a the early Europas used a I believe it was a Renault. Was it a Renault derived engine? I think it was a Renault derived engine. I have to double check, but I could have sworn it was a Renault derived engine. For their earlier vehicles, before switching to a Ford derived engine later on, from the Ford Escorts in the later Europas. The Elise started out with a Rover engine before swapping to the Toyota engine. The later Esprits use an outsourced V8 motor as well. Very rarely do they build their own motors from scratch, but they were really good at taking other companies' engines and further refining them, further eking out more power, more efficiency. Oh boy, gotta be careful. Gotta be a little bit careful with this. Oh, that's that was a bespoke V8. Okay, I could have sworn it was like a Ford derived V8 or something, but I might be wrong there. I'm probably wrong. It's okay. So Lotus did eventually make their own engine, but it was very, very rare compared to the number of times they outsourced and modified engines from other manufacturers. Of all the engines they make bespoke. Okay, so the Esprit in general was their kind of this bespoke sports car. Okay. It was just almost everything else that used an outsourced engine. The Elan, the Europa, the Elise, the Evora used, what, the Toyota V6, right? They did it. Did they? I'm trying to think of like what Lotus vehicle is used a non-outsourced engine. What's the Saab 9000? Oh, I don't think did we get that in the States? Did we get that in the States? The Saab 9000. It looks nice regardless. Ooh, okay, we got a rear-wheel drive championship, but I don't think we quite have. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ooh, we got an even matchup on the Dragon Range, though. Elan versus Elan. It's gonna be a fun one. Lotus Type 900 series. Let me look that up real quick. So I don't remember much of the Type 900 series. Ah, that was a successor to the Lotus 4 twin cam. So what was that? What was that used in? I wonder what all they used it on. Ah, okay, so they used it on the Lotus Sunbeam. Okay. And as well as a couple of Vauxhalls. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Very nice. Okay, so they did use a few. They did create a few bespoke engines then. But it was cool that they had basically a. What was that? That dive bomb. They didn't even make the corner themselves, despite using us as a brake, a cornering aid. Bro was getting aggressive. Even Jensen Healy's using them. Okay. So they did have a few bespoke engines. But like what primarily Lotus vehicles was it used on? So you had the Sunbeam. But like I don't know, a lot of at least the Lotuses I'm more familiar with all use the outsourced engines. Or, you know, modified from another vehicle. Right, but like with that one, it at least used like the Lotus derived engine. Yeah, that is true. They do a lot of engine work for a lot of other companies. Like I know the Carlton, the Lotus Vauxhall Carlton. Okay, the Excel, that's the other one. Okay. So yeah, the Esprit, which kind of makes sense from the 72 to 99. They had the Excel as well. Okay. And I guess maybe they used a version of it on the later Elan, the front-wheel drive Elan? Something like that, right? If it was built from 72 to 99, that does kind of line up with the later front wheel drive Lotus Solanas. No, really. Hmm. And they had the engine, they had the vehicle to probably fit the engine. I used a Kia-derived engine. No way. Rip. Oh gosh. That is a Kia. Oh, of all engines, a Kia-derived engine. Lotus makes some interesting decisions. It wasn't even like later on when Kia kind of got their crap together and everything. It was like the early, the early Kia, which wasn't exactly known for their astounding reliability and everything like that. Like it was kind of seen as a pretty terrible vehicles with terrible engines that you got for super cheap. They needed funding. That actually makes sense. That actually makes sense then. Still though, holy moly. a Kia engine Lotus. Oh, that is terrifying in terms of reliability. That is terrifying. Okay, it was used in the Elite as well. Okay, so you had a few other Lotuses that used that engine. Okay. Hmm. Yes, the Lotus GM partnership was super cool. I still would love to have a Lotus Carlton. That thing, one of the fastest four-door cars you could get at the time. Absolutely terrifying amount of power, and it's dark, kind of almost black colored paint. Just delicious, scrumptious. I love it. That thing was so cool. It's a shame the Lotus Carlton doesn't get shown up in more racing games. Now, did they actually enter GT2 racing with the Esprit? I'm trying to remember. So I know they were looking at getting into more of like the GT side of racing after their Formula 1. Oh, they did. Okay. How well did it do? How well? Okay. So it had a good pace at IMSA. How was the reliability? I know a lot of the Lotuses struggled. I know a lot of Lotuses struggled with the reliability issues. It's also in BP. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. So it was pretty prolific. Was a Lotus. Yeah, that's fair. So it was probably very quick, very good qualifying, but then in the races, especially longer races, may have fizzled out due to mechanical troubles. What's in the engine? Gearbox then? That's usually the next thing to go on a Lotus. if not the engine, usually it's the gearbox that gives trouble. Yep, called it. I'm like, if it's not the engine, it's probably the gearbox then. Oh yeah, those are dog water. Dog water. Oh gosh, I can't believe I caught it. Like usually the chassis and all that stuff held up pretty well. Manufactured a transmission for group C from. Yeah, I don't know why it called the Lotuses called so much issues. Like it was it like just bad luck or something then? Like you think okay they can handle the increased power and everything in you know the higher tiers of motorsport with higher power, more rapid shifts, more aggressive driving, you know, higher stresses and strains on the vehicle altogether, higher heats. You'd think that okay, yeah, in a lower tier, you know, GT car, it would be, you know, it would be more than robust enough to handle it, but no, the transmissions are also notorious for being absolutely terrible in the Lotus cars. Yeah, the backbone chassis. Oh, this thing sounds so good. Yeah, I imagine that's due to the suspension and aerodynamics of the Esprit. The Esprit GT1. That and just being a bit on the lighter side. But yeah, the reliability has always been Lotus's weak spot. Big oof. Big oof there. Aero's actually pretty crap. Okay. Could have sworn. Like I know the least GT1 was pretty rough on the aero side, but I could have sworn like the Esprit would have been a little bit better in that front. Especially considering it was caught fire. Ah, Lotus moments. I still absolutely love Lotus cars though. I still absolutely love them. Got a lot of beautiful machines. The lightweight nature of them, the beautiful agile handling. Just a bit of a shame that they've had issues. Though I do like the new Emira as well. That sounds like a Lotus story. That sounds like a Lotus story. Ooh, there we go. Reduce the weight some more. Simplify, add even more lightnesses. Only 2 left. Wonder where they're stored. Only 1 functional. So, probably a priceless artifact then, essentially. Go figure, it was better in the lower tier of classes. Ooh, okay. So at least it is being restored. That is a good thing. Now let's do the British sports car race. Now the Elan, believe it or not, despite its low ground clearance and very fragile chassis, actually was okay in rally racing, more so in tarmac and light gravel rallies like the RAC rally or the Monte Carlo rally. That is a wall I looked over. Yeah, you had, you know, the production, essentially the crazy homologation specials, the CLK, you know, GTRs, the TSO 20s, the Porsche 911 stress inversions, the Nissan R390s, all of that stuff. Yeah, they did. That's why it was also, up until the most recent C8 Corvette, it was the only double overhead cam Corvette, as well as Lotus loves that double overhead cam technology. They really push for that. So that made the C401 a very unique vet for a very long time, and essentially made it the king of the hill in the American performance vehicles market. Oh my gosh, could you imagine variable valve timing on an early mid-90s vet? I think the 01 eventually made around like what, like a 370, 400 horsepower, somewhere in that range. Like I think that's what they ended up with the production figures were for that vet. 405, okay, yeah, which I mean, for the 90s is like ridiculous. Like the Dodge with their Viper with the, you know, 2 extra cylinders, I only had, you know, like what, 450 horsepower, or like 440, somewhere in that range. So, you know. The fact that they were able to do that much horsepower. Excuse me. Okay, so I was pretty close then with the range. So I remember at a couple different numbers. I'm like, it was like somewhere around like 370, like upper 300s to like very low 400s. So I mean, I wasn't that far off with the range. I just needed to go 5 horsepower more on both the lower and upper side to be exactly on it. Not too far, not too bad when going off of pure memory. Oh, how'd it do in Le Mans? What class was it in? I'm not too familiar with the racing pedigree of the C401. Gotta be a little bit careful. Through all the corners. Oh, it was in a GT1 category. Oh gosh. I mean, it probably would have stood on okay, but I know that the McLaren F1 absolutely dominated that year, so you know, how well did it do? How much did it get blown out of the water? Yeah, the 300Z GTO. Yeah, the McLaren, like the McLaren being the class of the field that year. I think it was 94 that it won. Yep. Big rip there. But it sounded good. Do y'all got pace? We got aura and sound. Alright, fair enough. It's like the Aston Martin GTP car nowadays. It's like, do you got pace? We got a V12 in 2025. Okay, well, I mean, at least it sounds good. Probably should use something a little bit different for their the hypercar engine, but I mean, it sounds nice. Though going no hybrid system is certainly a choice, especially when it's the first shit not gonna have patience. Maybe from a technical point of view, it's gonna. I don't know. Like I see, like if you remember, like WEC, the Toyota versus like the non-hybrid cars. The Toyota just kind of absolutely dominated in the end of the LMP1 era, where everyone else is just kind of fighting for third place and hoping that the Toyotas had issues. Just because the Toyotas with the hybrid system were able to better put the power down, conserve more fuel, and better conserve their tires as well. Time will tell. They do, okay, yeah, they do have a little itty bitty mini generator, but like, compared to the other GTP cars, I can't imagine it would do too well. I'm hoping it does very well, and at higher speed tracks it genuinely might. Like I'm looking forward to hearing it at Watkins Glen, this coming up in a couple weeks. But I don't know. From a purely engineering perspective, I don't have nearly as much faith in it as I probably should. Ooh, 60s rear-wheel drive GT car rally. I would gladly take that. Let's do it. Yeah, the super short wheelbase probably hurt it in like the highest speed tracks. I was already struggling with the lack of aero efficiency. Bit of a shame. It's a fun car to drive in the older Gran Turismo games, Gran Turismo 2. But alas, never made the B. Never meant to be. Oh, that was spicy. Yeah, the overhangs. But I mean, the overhangs are partially there just because of the, they had to further increase the length. Like, the Elise is just such a short car, like, even with the massively lengthened wheelbase. Okay. Yeah, I guess with the Elise, like, even then it was just kind of stubby. A little too stubby to really make use of the arrow. Big rip there. big rip there. Bit of a shame. I remember when Lotus was trying to make a comeback in the 2010s as well. They had the Lotus F1 team. You had Lotus in IndyCar. You had the Lotus in GTE racing with what was it? The Evora V6. And like they showed promise early on, but it they had the massive financial issues and had to absolutely end a lot of their racing, their racing programs. They extended themselves too far in too many directions. Their IndyCar engines were underpowered and unreliable. the Evora just struggled compared to more purpose-built GTE cars like the M6. Yeah, the lack of budget. The F1 team. The F1 team did okay. Up until the 2014 era, where the Renault engines really struggle with the hybrid regulations and everything, and then they just completely went into essentially Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I forget what it's actually called in Europe, but in America it's called Chapter 11. The complete kind of, you know, collapse of the company. Is that like what, administration, something like that? I can't remember. I can't remember the legal technical terms for the but in America it's Chapter 11. Yeah, it had a potential. It just didn't have the funding. It just didn't have the funding. All right, let's pull up the random number generator again. All right, we got two options. If it is a 1, it'll be the GD Impreza. If it's a 2, it'll be the C3 Corvette. It is a 1. Impreza it is. Ooh. All right. Oh, heyo. I want that. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. The Impreza, the GD Impreza. Got four options. I wanted in a WR Blue Mica. This thing will be a four-wheel drive beast. I'm looking forward to it. Ah, no money to implement it. Ah, the nature of Lotus. And I had big hopes for Lotus in the 2010s. Like, I was super hyped for, you know, them to just absolutely, you know, come out of the gate swinging. You know, really, like, they look like they were making a genuine effort to, like, really make a comeback. Yeah, they're doing alright in GT4, the British GT and everything with the Amira GT4. Honestly, I'd love to see them, if they can continue the stability and improve their customer support for GT4 racing. Maybe see if they can eventually make a Amira GT2 car. Adachi, welcome. I don't know, LMDH would be very expensive for them at this stage. I think honestly they'd be better off going either the GT3 or maybe even the GT2 route to better capitalize off the road cars, as well as you know, reduce, because it's less expensive to develop a GT3 than a full LMDH. Yeah, they are owned by Geely, but how do you pronounce it anyway? Is it Geely, hard G, soft G? I'm not sure. With that, you gotta, you know, have the hybrid system. You gotta have, like, I'm pretty sure development for those is, even with the spec parts, you know, in the millions. Whereas with GT3s, it's usually a little bit less expensive, right? Like, yeah, you gotta provide more of your parts in GT3. But I don't know, I'll have to double check that. Yeah, the powertrain as well as getting the, even with the spec chassis, like those are still pretty expensive chassis to get, even if you're going, you know, all of that. So even with there being spec components to help reduce costs, it can still be pricey to integrate that in with the rest of the vehicle. You just gotta do some of the aero development yourself. You gotta develop the powertrain. You gotta integrate the powertrain with the hybrid system. Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing that as well. Holy moly. Like, that would be great. Sega. Oh, they basically do a, they combine the two inline fours into essentially a twin turbo V8. That's what they ended up doing. Also, holy moly. The Impreza's got the grip. Absolute rally legend. This thing is a blast. It's cute little boxer engine, little boxer 4. It's planet handling. Ooh. Well, I mean, they're gonna be coming, what, 2026? So they better be, you know, on track to development and everything. The fact that they're already able to fire up without any issue and all that, that is good. Yeah, because they had to, what, the inline fours, the WRC cars, they used to be hybrids. I think they dropped the hybrids. But yeah, they had to integrate the hybrid system for that, so Hyundai does have the capability. I got mixed feelings on it. On one hand, it did massively increase costs, but the vehicles are so quick as well. It is a bit unfortunate that they just got too expensive to develop for the Rally 1 cars. Oh, that is way too late on the brakes. That is way too late on the brakes. Brake earlier, Isaac, you dummy. True, yeah, the repair as well. Like you need licensed and specialized mechanics to work on the electrical systems with hybrid systems. You had a higher risk of you know, electrical fires. You gotta deal with the battery system and everything. It's a little bit tricky. But even then, that is still, you had the added costs too, which likely reduced the manufacturer involvement in Rally 1. Especially in comparison to like Rally 2, we have a lot more manufacturers in play. Skoda, Lancia, all of that stuff that aren't in Rally 1. Alright, so that's too early. I'm struggling to find the breaking point for turn 1. Are they really? Huh. That makes sense. Yeah, for the marketing and everything like that. Plus, also, if you're going to be entering racing, you may as well use it as like a means of R&D. That makes sense. Holy moly, those Subarus just... Oh, that sounds so good, too. Yeah, like I know the World Rally Cars try to go electric or hybrid as well, and that had major issues too. Been unfortunate because he would have had some crazy accelerating vehicles from that. There we go, there we go. Give us a level up. That made people angry. I don't necessarily mind it. I quite like electric motorsports. Like I regularly watch like Formula E and everything. But yeah, it is I don't know, whatever produces good racing, I like. We're really only getting one make races as the highest difficulty race. That's gonna be a little bit difficult, but okay. That's why honestly I love with the engine sounds and everything. That's why I'd love to have a kind of a net zero biofuel where, you know, the carbon that the fuel takes in is, you know, equal to the fuel the carbon that gets released when you do burn it. They've been trying to do like this, the algae derived fuel. Porsche's been investing heavily into that, as they don't want to fully give up the ICE engines. Although right now it is extremely expensive. Yeah, I imagine, you know, the electric rally cars probably aren't the best for the fans, but like other forms of electric motorsport are pretty cool. Like I genuinely quite like Formula E. Honestly, Formula E would do really well at Zolder, especially with the Belgian GP being on an on-again, off-again rotation in the later half of the 2020s. They could have the years where there isn't a regular Belgian F1 Grand Prix. They could have the Belgian E-Prix at Zolder as a rotating schedule. That way, you can get the F1 fans and everything going to another premier global open wheel racing series. And honestly, you know, the track would be really good for the cars. Lots of heavy braking zones, multiple low-speed chicanes already built in, and you literally have a wind farm and solar infrastructure right there as well. So you can, you know, market it as, you know, the green energy E-Prix or whatever. Ooh. So our WSC already does use the net zero fuel. Very nice. GG on them. I know Formula One's been gradually trying to push into that. Honestly, I'm surprised they weren't the first. But that is pretty cool. GG WRSC. True. Less compression, less heat and everything. Less risk of detonation and the lower slightly lower octane of the biofuels. Still, that helps with the R&D and everything. Helps with the make it more economically sustainable and environmentally sustainable as well. Good stuff there. Alright, let's see if we can't get past the leading Impreza here. "24 cylinders, all reverberating through the fall hills." Get the cutback. Come on. We need to get round them. Yeah, like they use like a mix, like a synthetic mix of fuel. It's like 20% or 25% biofuel or something like that. Which isn't bad. It's a start. It's part of why they're trying to push for the smaller, lower-powered engines as well, so they can go more with the synthetic fuel, I think. That might be the end goal. Alright, gotta be careful when the corner gets tighter. There we go, nice and smooth. I need to increase my ranking because I need to be able to get into the RS events sooner rather than later, as that'll allow. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, IMSA and the American Le Mans series, back when it was the American Le Mans series, was pushing the ethanol use even back then. But yeah, the prototypes use almost pure, like, full ethanol. And the GT3s use like a mix, where it's like E85 or something. Which is really nice. Although I will say, as someone who's been to the races, for the prototypes, when they go by, their exhaust smells very different than the exhaust. Oh, they're only using 80%. Okay. What are the GT3s, the GTD class using? 20%. Okay, got it. We'll say though, the prototypes when they go by, their exhaust smells so different than when the GT3s go by. It kind of it burns your eyes a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like the first time I went back to a race last year, I was like, huh. Like my eyes are just kind of like watering anytime like I was fine when like the Mustang race during the the GT4 and TCR race and all that stuff. I was like right by the track as well. I was hanging out by the final turn right where the cars enter the pits. Cause you can get some really good sight lines there. And when the prototypes, both the LMP2s and the GTPs went by, like it burns your eyes a little bit. Only 10%. Ah, rip. Hopefully they increase that a little bit more. Which is weird because the GTEs used to use like 15%, 20% back in the early 2010s. Just weird that they went with less. There we go, there we go. That's less good. Okay, we need to really increase our ranking and fast. All right, we need another high points paying race. The Impreza race at Gateway. Let's go to the Japanese Skyhook Climb match as well. Let's do this. That is true. They do use the more production-derived engines as opposed to the more purely like race-bred engines. So still be nice to eventually see them be able to be tuned for more ethanol. Alright, come on, let's absolutely smoke this Supra. 6-cylinder versus 4-cylinder, but we got the forward drive to make us out better when the acceleration out of the tight corners. Japanese car toge match. Come on, let's do this back to the right. Yeah, I had seen videos of it. I wasn't there personally, but I'd seen some videos of it. It sounded pretty good. But I mean, even the regular C8 or an Owl, it's still pretty. It still sounds pretty nice. A little bit lower revving V8 sound. But I quite like it. The Mustang GT3s sound absolutely amazing though. Those are probably my favorite of the GT3 cars. Welcome Team 7, hope you're well. Yeah, it's not quite the same as the pre-production or the pre-release C8, but I still like the modern C8 sound. It sounds nice when you're driving it in a sim as well from the cockpit, because you get a lot of that the transmission whine as well, which sounds absolutely amazing. I guess that was more so to preserve it for endurance races. You know, less wear and tear on the engine if you can make more torque in the lower ranges. Alright. Get the hairpins. Back to the lefts. Come on. Let's absolutely demolish the Supra. Show them that four-wheel drive was built for the Touge. Like, look how slow. Look how slow the Supra is on the hairpins. The much heavier kind of GT style vehicle versus a lighter, more nimble Impreza. Like, we're just steadily pulling a gap, almost 500 yards ahead. Yeah, if you can make more torque and more consistent torque as well, that makes sense. While also saving fuel as well, because, you know, if you're revving lower, you know, you're usually not using as much fuel. You're putting less stress on the engine. Made a little bit more sense for that. There we go. Not a bad time as well, sub 330. For a production car, that's not too bad. Oh, I can't wait to switch to the Impreza in Kaito Racer as well. Be a major step up from our Civic. That's, I mean, both sounded really nice as well. I quite liked both. But I enjoy driving the GT3 on the in the Sims and everything. It's got a nice sound. It's got a nice sound. The Mustang sounds good. Although in terms of vehicle handling, I'm still a sucker for the Mercedes AMG GT, even if it has the SLS GT3 engine still, granted with more modern electronics and everything for improved reliability and durability and all that stuff, and power. But I love the naturally aspirated front engine nature of the Mercedes AMG GT3. Doesn't sound the best of the GT3 cars. Actually, kind of sounds not that great. But I love the way it handles. I can just extract pace out of it in a lot of the different sims, which I really like. You can really curb hop with that, which is kind of fits my driving style, as I like to essentially extend the track limits to the very limit as much as I can every single corner. Curbs, run off, all that stuff. If I can use it that gains me time, I am using it. So I usually run my tire pressures a bit higher as well, so my tires can handle hitting the curbs. Yeah, that one. It's funny because the Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT3 uses the more modern Mercedes engine compared to the actual Mercedes GT3. And even funnier, the GT4 and the GT2 Mercedes race cars also use the later twin-turbo 4.2-liter V8. It's literally just the GT3 that uses a naturally aspirated, older SLS-derived engine, which is funny. But I mean, I'm not complaining. I like the lack of turbo lag, especially in tighter, more technical tracks like Valencia or you know, Donington Park and all that stuff. Really allows me to, you know, gear onto the power and also defend for my teammates as well, as I can kind of park it right at the apex, let my teammates get further. I don't know, just different BOP, I guess. In iRacing, it's pretty quick. And in LMU, it's not. Wait. Is it in LMU? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I played LMU. But I know in iRacing, it was pretty quick, especially in higher speed tracks like Spa, Daytona, that type of stuff. It struggles in slow speed tracks, though. It is in LMU. Okay. But in iRacing, it was pretty strong in high speed tracks. Although lower speed tracks, it's a little bit finicky. It doesn't quite like more tighter technical tracks. You try to race it somewhere like what's the track in Connecticut? Lime Rock, where you try to race it on, like, you know, smaller tracks, Brands Hatch, those types of tracks. It's not nearly as good. High speed tracks though, oh, it absolutely loves it. Daytona loves it. Le Mans, you know, the Lasarda track, loves it. Spa loves it. Very, very solid, very consistent pace all the way through that. But in low speed tracks, it struggles a little bit. Yeah. Which is really weird as well to see. It's like they should allow, you know, a little bit more freedom in that regards. To give them, you know, better, more balanced, or at least let them have a more natural torque curve. But it is what it is. As so, in terms of driving though, even if it is a bit down on the top speed because of its naturally aspirated nature, and it's not the best aero efficiency. Yeah, exactly. Give them the torque as well. That'd be nice. Nope, that's a second gear corner, not a third gear. Ooh, too fast for the carousel. Way too fast for the carousel. Alright, left and a sharper left and a right. Immediately to another right. Boop. Alright, come up to the here, brake right at the crest of the hill, down a gear. Alright, can go mostly full throttle for this section. Downhill, watch for oversteer. Alright, here we go, brake just before the end of the turb. There we go, we don't have a good braking point here in this game. Later on, later games do have better signage and everything for good braking markers here. Brake just before the end of the turn, third gear corner. Yeah, apparently it's got a very solid electronics and very advanced turbo technology. which basically makes it a much more responsive turbo vehicle. Ooh, gotta be careful for the YouTube corner. Cars always get unsettled. Alright, nearly full throttle the rest of the way through. All the way up to we get to the right, left, left, right before the dotting arrow. Ooh, a little sketch there. Alright, brake just at the signage. 4th gear. Brake just before the orange. 3rd gear. Tracks everything. Nice. That's some crazy amount of power as well. Like, at some point, like, it's just absolutely. Like, I remember being so thoroughly impressed by the 01 C6 and the LS9 engine and then the sheer power and performance that had. The fact that we will make that look pedestrian now is kind of scary. Like, the C8 vet is just absolutely terrifying in terms of its speed. Yeah. Because it's got the boost. Alright, 163 miles an hour. We want to steadily start slowing ourselves down. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that is some nice specs for the vet. Honestly, I can't wait to see. I never got a chance to drive it virtually yet, but I'd love to get a chance in some sim if they add it, and I hope they do add it in the drive the new 01. That would be so much fun. That would be an absolute blast to drive. Okay, we can now join RS races. 1,000 horsepower. Oh, gosh. That'd be unthinkable performance. You know, literally a decade ago, or well, not necessarily unthinkable, but like either hypercar or like heavily modified car that's, you know, running like pure like ethanol kits and everything. Being able to do that on pump gas is just insane. Oh, those poor NSX doesn't know what's coming for them. Since we're driving a four-wheel drive vehicle and a rally to ride car, you know, why shouldn't we race on Winter Trom? This thing, absolutely lovely. There we go. Okay, we're good. We're good. Easy on the turns. All right. Take a little bit of the jump there. There we go. There we go. Oh gosh, the NSX is not built for snowy conditions. Yeah, this track is really cool. I like the fact that they used elements of the Bergenschluck. I don't know how to pronounce that. But that track for the start-finish straight and the first couple of corners, but then have it diverge into a completely different track. And unless you're like actively paying attention, it looks completely different because of the snowy weather and everything. But it is so nice. Alright, there we go, back to the left. On the cardboard section, this part is at least somewhat plowed to get slightly more grip compared to later on. A little bit of a jump there. Alright, on to the heavier snow now. A lot slicker. A lot slower. A lot slower reaction. Yeah, Winter Trauma is a great track. Although my personal favorite off-road track in this game is Mystic Caveaway. I really like the look of that one. That one is really cool. The fact that you're basically just going through a cave with like the underground waterfall and everything in it. It is a genuinely beautiful track. And the fact that they introduce it so early is just really cool. The downside is you only get to see it in either RS events or rally car events or the RS events. I'll let us nickname it Winter Trauma. Yeah, anything not four-wheel drive absolutely struggles here. Like, you look at the NSX. And the cool thing though is the odds system does not take into account the weather you'll be racing on. So literally, you'll get the same odds whether it's on dry tarmac or completely slippery snow. Which, if you have a solid enough four-wheel drive vehicle, allows you to absolutely get massive amounts of ranking points. Because the odds system doesn't differentiate track by track. It also allows you to kind of scam the Speediopolis ring if you drive a very heavy but high-speed sedan or whatever. Fonzie, welcome! Hope you well. Alright, come on. Nice and smooth through here. Boop, back to the left. Alright, let's see. Back to the right, nice and smooth, nice and easy. Oh boy. It'd be nice to see Dodge make him out with like a twin turbo Hellcat as like a final send off. Just to get back at GM. I've been okay. Though I have been struggling with the Barcelona Catalunya GP track in practice for the GT3 race in ACC coming up later today. It's like the Spaniards just forgot to put in proper braking markers in the final sector of the track. They're just kind of winging it. Turbos wouldn't fit. Yeah, fair. Come on, just gotta pop them out from the hood. Come on, you can make it happen, right, Dodge? It's just exposed turbos. Yeah, they probably wouldn't fit. True. Very true in that front. The supercharger is probably a little bit more space efficient design, at least for a larger V8 like that. There we go. Thought you didn't make the safety regs. Nah, it's alright. It's a production special car. It doesn't need to meet safety regs, right? Big rip. Still though, it is cool what they managed to do with the Hellcat and the Zero one as well. Like, we are in a new golden age of performance. I just wish I could actually afford something like that. Anyone got a small loan of a couple $100,000? I we did Turbo Demon though with the supercharger. Ooh, twin charge demon. Let's go. Triple charge. Oh gosh. Triple charge. We got time for one more race, I think, before we gotta end the stream. I'm getting a little bit tired, and I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. I haven't fully recovered from being sick. So let's do one more race at low and searing. Oh yeah, that forward drive acceleration. Come on, let's see if we can out accelerate. We got the Volvo V70R wagon as well. We got the Skyline Nismo behind us. We got a Shelby Cobra. All kinds of very high-end, high-performance vehicles. Come on. Yeah, I'd probably end up getting like the 0-1 as well. Dollar per dollar, you just get crazy amounts of performance. I'd be kind of scared to drive it though. But on the other hand, like, just the coolness of it. Yeah, and it handles as well. But I don't know, just the sheer power. Like, I feel like my foot would cash checks that my ass couldn't my foot would write checks that my ass couldn't cash. So yeah, I'm I'm a little bit scared on that one. 2.2 seconds, that's scary. What are my thoughts on Dodge Ram going back to NASCAR? Hey yo! I mean, that's big if true. Have they confirmed that? Have they made an announcement? I've not seen anything like that, but if they have, that's really cool. Getting four manufacturers at the top level of NASCAR, getting Dodge, Ford, Chevy, and Toyota all duking it out. Going forward in the Pirelli Sport 4 tires. Okay, which is still pretty good. Like, wasn't the Bugatti Veyron? Wasn't the Bugatti Veyron like 2.5 seconds 0 to 60? And that, you know, all-wheel drive and the electronic launch control and all that stuff. The fact that the two-wheel drive Vet is even quicker to 60 is terrifying. Like the sheer amount of like electronic devices keeping that from just ending up backwards. And keeping that front end down as well. Holy moly. That is a scary car. I'd be terrified to see how fast it takes the quarter mile. Like that's gotta be what, like 9 second times? 9-10 second times? Somewhere in that range. Like you're looking at like hyperbike levels of like quarter mile times. 9.5. Fucking hell, that's terrifying. I'd have to check it out after the stream. But I highly doubt we'll see any NASCAR in Gran Turismo. There hasn't been NASCAR since Gran Turismo 6. Which is a damn shame because they have plenty of oval tracks. You got Broadbean, Blue Moon Bay, Daytona, and Belle Isle? Not Belle Isle. What's the tiny one? But that one as well. And it's kind of... And even though we still don't have any stock car racing, so probably not Gran Turismo 7, maybe GT8, but Kazunori Yamauchi's lost his edge. we might get more escapes locations or another SUV. Even with the drag and the big wing, it reaches 224. Jeez. That is some killer speed. And is it aerodynamically limited or is it gear limited? I'm imagining it's aerodynamically limited. Alright, so that sheer amount of power and everything. Oh boy. A little bit of unnecessity on the exit there. Still no track limits. I'll take that. And no active arrow. Space limited. Oh, okay. So it's probably a little bit more like the aerodynamics then prevent it from reaching higher speeds and everything within like the needed space for it. Okay. Like it probably can still keep climbing, but not nearly fast enough to get that stuff. Alright, this is probably the last race of the stream, as I'm getting very tired and I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. So I'm gonna be ending this stream here. Thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the stream, please make sure you leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing well in the comments down below. If you didn't like the stream, please let me know what I'm doing poorly so I can fix that in the future. With that being said, I've been Isaac Umbras, and wherever you're in the world, whatever time it is for you, may it be a great time, and I'll see you all in the next stream. Until then, take care everybody. Hopefully next week I'll have a lot longer, I'm gonna have a bit longer streams and have my voice last a little bit longer. But until then, take care everybody. Bye bye.